My name is Aaron Edwards, and I'm going to talk today about tree biology and what we can do to help it. So imagine if you were a tree, you would be dead, and the living part of you would be your clothing. So it's just the outer little shell of a tree that is actually alive. The rest, as you can see right here, is actually dead tissue that the tree just uses to kind of support itself as it grows. You can also see here. So 90% of the tree is dead, and this little outer thin layer right here is where all the life of a tree happens. So trees wear their life on their sleeve. When you are pruning a tree, it's important to remember that, and to remember that essentially the tree, if it does get pruned, wants to close itself off and not expose this tissue right here. Why? Because this tissue is an entryway for microbes like fungus, for bacteria, etc. And the longer this stays open and exposed, the more time for insects and other things to enter in. And so what it wants to do is seal itself off completely like this. In order to do that, it requires us understanding that every branch is essentially its own little miniature tree that has to provide for all its own needs. It doesn't get like a boost from the rest of the tree. It actually has to provide for all its own sugar needs, all its own water needs for the season, and then any extra gets to go down to the roots and for the rest of the tree. So that's why you'll see that trees often, the branches, if you kind of think of it as its own little tree here, this little tree is rooted into the bigger tree, and it's at this rooting place right here that the tree is able to store all its nutrients and all its chemicals that help it react to problems. And so what happens is each year this branch grows a little bit like that. And then a little later in the season, the tree grows over it. Then the branch the next season, then the tree, then the branch, then the tree, then the branch, then the tree, and so on, until you have this kind of what's called the branch collar. And that's probably the most important point in a tree for where it's collecting all its sugars. And so when you're pruning a tree, you never want to cut into that. You want to always cut outside of it. And that allows the rest of the tree to use all those sugars and all those nutrients to seal itself off, and you won't end up with something like this. And the tree will be happy like this.